Good morning, you guys. Yesterday we read a fiction story together about the little girl with her mom in the White House, and her mom was the cook. Today we're going to read a nonfiction story for our reading focus. I am just going to read it to you. I'm not going to show you the text because our listening skills is our focus for today and how to be a good listener, along with reading a nonfiction text. So when we meet in our small groups later and we are working on our reader's notebook response for our nonfiction text, I'll show you the text so that you can see it and we can respond to it. But right now I just want you to practice being a good listener. So I want you to kind of think in your brain about what you think it means to be a good listener. And hopefully some of those things were looking at the speaker, listening to what they're saying, not just hearing them. Sometimes we hear people talking, but we're not really listening. When you're listening, you're able to ask questions, you're able to contribute to the conversation. So if I were to ask the question, you could respond because you were listening. Being respectful of people when they're talking and having a conversation is being a good listener. You listen to me, then I'm quiet and I listen to you. So while I'm reading today, I'd like for you to listen to what I read to you about our president. And that way, when we get ready to talk in our small groups, you're able to respond. So today I'm going to read to you an article about the responsibilities of our president. The article begins by describing how our federal government works. Then it tells us about the different jobs the president has as the chief executive of our government. The title of the article is Hail to the Chief. What jobs do you think the president performs? Think about that for just a second. All right, now as we read, I want you to pay attention to jobs that you hear that you already knew about, and maybe jobs that you didn't realize he did. Is the President of the United States the most powerful person in the world? Some people think so, because he or she is the chief executive of a mighty nation. An executive is responsible for managing an organization or business. The chief executive of the nation is responsible for managing our government. That is a big responsibility. But the president has plenty of help. This article says the president has plenty of help. I wonder what kind of help he would need. I mean, he's the president. Why would he need help? I think I'm going to keep reading to see what those answers are. In our country, the government is divided into 3 branches or parts. The president is in charge of the executive branch. Another branch, Congress, makes the laws. This is the legislative branch. Legislate means to make laws. The 3rd branch of our government is the judicial branch. The Supreme Court and other federal judges and courts in the judicial branch make sure the decisions made by the president and the Congress follow the Constitution of our country. So it sounds like the president, then we have legislative, so they like to make the laws. So the president has an idea, legislative is Congress, and they make the laws, and then the judicial make sure that those decisions are followed. Okay, so they kind of seem to work together. All 3 branches work together to run the United States. For example, the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed services of the United States, the person who leads our military forces. But Congress has the power to declare war and provide the money to pay for it. So the president and the Congress have to work together. So 3 branches run the United States. I know run has many meanings. For example, like it could mean to move really quickly, like I'm running from a dog, or to manage something, or to campaign in an election. So I guess in this sentence it means like to manage, because he's running those military forces and making those decisions. Makes sense. All the public officials that voters select, mayor, governor, senator, the president is the only person that all voters can choose when they vote on election day. So the president must work for all of the people, not just those from a certain city or state. What work does the president do? The president recommends new laws to Congress. The president and his or her staff suggest new ways to solve problems and to improve the lives of American citizens through legislation. The president might want to add a new reading program to help school children, or make it easier for sick people to buy medicine. For the president's idea to become a law, Congress must pass the law. They have to agree to it and provide the money to make it work. Congress also has ideas for new laws. If the president disagrees with those ideas, he or she can try to prevent them by using the power to veto. Veto means to refuse to agree to something. So each paragraph that I've been reading has a main idea, along with details that support that main idea. The main idea that the president recommends new law is supported by examples like adding a new reading program or making it easier for sick people to buy medicine. The president enforces the law, so he recommends new laws to Congress and then he enforces the law. The president is the top law officer in our nation, with the power to make sure citizens obey the laws of our country. In rare but dramatic times, the president can also order army troops to enforce laws. For example, in 1962, President John E. Kennedy sent troops to the University of Mississippi to protect a black student from angry crowds who didn't want him there. The president is the host to other nations' leaders. The president invites other world leaders to his home, the White House, to have meetings and to show off American hospitality. This reminds me of our story from yesterday with little Daisy and her mom and Pierre in the White House cooking. When the White House hosts a dinner party for important visitors, the dinner menu usually includes favorite foods from the guest's country, not our country. When President and Mrs. George W. Bush invited President Vicente Fox of Mexico to dinner, dessert included ice cream with red chili pepper sauce. I don't know if I'd like that. What do you guys think? The president is also a symbol of American leadership. He or she is the one person who represents our nation at home and around the world. Some countries admire the U.S. president. Others do not. Being president of the United States is a difficult job with many tough choices to make. Great power comes with great responsibility. So, summing this up, I've just learned a lot about the president. I've learned that he can't just make a law by himself. Anything he has an idea about, the Congress has to decide that it's a good law. And then our judicial branch helps to enforce the laws that are agreed upon. That he can recommend a law. He can enforce law in the sense of military power. He's a host to other nations' leaders, and that he also is a symbol of American leadership. I want you to think about, for our reading response journal in just a little bit, which job of the president's do you think is most important and why? Because remember, when we give a thought or an opinion, we should always support it with text evidence. So why do you think that job is most important? We will revisit this and I'll let you see the text later too. So when we're writing and we're thinking together, we can see the text and what it presents us. But I think that we've learned a lot of good information today in our nonfiction text about our president. See you guys in a little bit.